and we can go back on their history and we can see
Mm,
fluctuations, and we can see the types of brands and the fits they've
mm,
purchased, and we can make notes on their file on
mm,
what they like. So when they walk in the door, we know how we can service them best. We're not
mm.
a typical retail store where it's really our main focus is service.
What happens when a homeschooled kid with a shovel, a sharp eye, and a deep respect for mentorship grows up to lead one of the region's most beloved fashion brands? In this episode, I sit down with Brandon Gadsby, co-owner of Gadsby Clothing Company and BRAE by Gadsbys, to talk about entrepreneurship, family values, expanding from menswear to women's fashion, and how building relationships has shaped both his life and his business. From backyard hockey games to buying trips in Europe, Brandon shares the behind the scenes of what it takes to run a growing retail company while staying grounded. Let's dive in. Brandon, I already warned you about my raspy voice, but if people have been watching other episodes, they might wonder why I sound so different. I'm just recovering from a little bit of laryngitis, but I did not want to reschedule with you because I know you're really busy. And I was also really excited to have this conversation. So I thought, hey, as long as I can talk, that's good enough for me.
Well, that's okay with me. This is great. I was looking forward to this as well.
Yeah, it's really great. So, just for context for anybody watching or listening, my husband and I stumbled across one of your stores. We were just having a little kind of a date afternoon in Stratford, and I think I spotted it across the street and said, "Ooh, that looks really nice. Like, let's go check it out." And we wandered over and went into the store, and it just has a really nice vibe. There's some stores that have nice quality, but then I don't know, they feel sometimes uppity.
Hmm.
It has a really nice vibe. So I want to tell you that first off.
That's great.
And we had a lovely time in there. Your staff, I don't remember who looked after us that day, but it was a great conversation. And that sparked the idea, for my husband to reach out to you because you guys sponsored some clothing for a TV program that he was on, which is pretty
Yeah,
cool.
he looks pretty sharp.
Yeah, I would get photos every day of what he was wearing that day. He would take a photo. They looked great. And I understand that was all your eye.
Hmm.
Anyway, and then once I knew that you guys had met, I thought, okay, now my turn. I want to have a conversation with Brandon. So what I like to do on this podcast is get to know the people behind the business, right? So people could go by, they could see your store. I want people to know who is behind that great store. So tell me a little bit about you. Like if I were to ask some of your close friends, how would they describe you?
Yeah. Well, actually, first off, I just want to thank you for having me on. This is
You're
really
welcome.
cool. I watched a few of the other episodes, some of the others, and I thought
Awesome.
this is such a great opportunity and really cool, just thing to be a part of. And yeah, I guess to answer your question, what others would say about me. Um, I would hope it's hard to kind of talk about myself like that, but
I know,
I
I
would
know.
hope that they would maybe say that I am genuine and just down to earth. Uh, I don't try to be somebody that I'm not,
Mhm.
um, and so I bring that into my family life and my workplace life and my church life, and anything that I'm going into. Like, obviously there's lots of things that I can work on, and I'm uh, um, always trying to gather wisdom from those that are ahead of me, 10, 20
Mhm.
years ahead. And I love just talking with people and connecting with people. And so I think, yeah, I think that's really what I would hope people would see of me as that I'm down to earth, genuine, and
That's great. And
all.
I love talking with people too. That's why I thoroughly enjoy doing this podcast. It's really been great to kind of get to know people when you can have a, one-on-one conversation for 45, 50 minutes. You can kind of, I don't know, cover a lot. Did you grow up in Waterloo region?
In South Kitchener,
Okay.
grew up in South Kitchener, and I was actually homeschooled for 10 years.
Okay. What was that experience like for you?
It was fantastic. Yeah, I even to this day would go back and say that I wouldn't change anything.
Mm,
How I grew up. My mom stayed home, and my dad worked sole income
hmm.
as a decorator, a professional decorator and painting in his own small
Wow. Is
business.
that where
So
your taste maybe comes from? Your
yeah,
eye?
probably. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Creativity
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
for just detail.
Mm,
And he was just he's very clean and organized, and
mm,
that's what I like to be too. I'm not a clean freak by any means at all, but I like to be organized when things get
yeah.
chaotic and life gets stressful. A lot of times, what adds to the stress that people don't realize is what's happening in your everyday routine. If things are not
Hmm.
put away or cleaned up or organized, then that kind of subconsciously adds to the stress. So,
Mm.
anyway, I can also run on bunny trails a little bit, but
That's okay.
yeah,
I like bunny trails. Yeah.
growing up, homeschool for 10 years with three younger siblings, um, was great. We were part of homeschool communities,
Hmm.
so we were active. We weren't the what some might look at homeschoolers as looking out the window at the world.
Yeah.
All the kids playing.
Mm,
No, we were out there playing right after
mm,
school as if we were in a private school, essentially.
right.
And it just really built for really good family dynamic and
Mm,
family relationships, and then also hanging out playing road hockey with all the neighborhood kids after school every day. And then I went to high school and public school in grade 11 and 12. So
hmm.
finished off in the public system. So that was also a great experience to be in the public system, new group of friends, and kind of put my focus down and feet down into, hey, where do I want to go from here?
Mm. Was it a bit of a shock, the adjustment, or you
I
were
would say
ready?
not really. I was ready. I
Mm,
was
okay.
100% ready
Hmm.
for it. And my younger brother is a year and a half younger than me. He went in at the same time, but at a different high school because they had opened a brand new one, and they were only allowing like grade 9 and 10. So it kind of forced us to split. I was 11, he
Ah.
was 10,
Hmm.
but we had our own kind of turf per se,
Sure.
our own space to kind of just be in our own school. Yeah, it was great. All of my siblings really succeeded in school and had good marks and good friendships and in the right crowds, which was important.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that was
What were you like as a kid?
yeah, good question to ask my mom. But
Should we call her? Should
add her in. I felt I definitely was like the most responsible one, probably being
you're
the
an oldest
oldest.
child, right?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
at a very young age was like ready to like run the house when
Mm,
mom had to go out, and I could like the very first day that I could be home by myself, and the very
mm,
first day that I could be home
yeah.
and look after the siblings. I think you have to be like 11 or 12 to be able to do that.
Hmm.
So yeah, I was always like looking to the next thing, and so
Hmm.
wanting to like steward. It seems like a very adult word, but as a young kid, it really was. I didn't know really what the word really meant until you become more of an adult. But
Hmm.
uh, really looking back, I would say that I was very conscious about stewarding what I had
Mm.
and whatever age or season I was in, stewarding it well.
Mm. And what did that mean to you then?
It meant, yeah, making wise decisions, and um, I mean, when it comes to finances,
Hmm.
relationships, had a lot of great friends, had all the feelings of, hey, I want to, we kind of like that girl
Hmm.
or whatever that is, but not like fully acting on it, and
Mm.
it kind of
Hmm.
taking my life when I knew that I needed to wait and
Hmm.
focus on like I think like really the underlying piece of what a lot of my growing up comes down to is I actually was very interested and intrigued in connecting with people that were 10 to 20 years ahead of me.
Mm.
And basically,
Mhm.
even when I was like 14, 15, I was meeting with somebody who was in their 30s and had
Interesting.
a family and had a business and I couldn't even really drive. I couldn't drive yet, but I would like get dropped
Mhm.
off at a Tim Hortons and like meet with somebody who was 20 years ahead of me and just say, like, what would you have done differently at my age? Like, what can I do
Mm.
that, everyone's situation is different. But in the season and situation that I was in with my family, like what can I do to manage my time well? And so that was, yeah, that was a huge
Mhm.
piece of my growing up, and just being around the right group of friends and saving my money, not just spending on everything that I wanted.
Mm.
I by no means had a lot of money, but
Mhm.
as I was like 15, 16, I started to think about, okay, getting a car and not trying not to have debt, and what can I do? How I need to work.
Mhm.
So that's kind of where
Yeah.
the career all
So,
started.
so I hear a really strong sense of responsibility right out of the gate. And
Yes.
I also
Yeah.
suspect your parents would say you were easy to raise.
Yeah, there were definitely some times when I, had my own opinions,
Sure.
and looking back, like I also like would enjoy a good argument, like with my parents, and trying to reason with them too, and but
Yeah,
yeah.
listen, there's no judgment in me saying that. I'll give you one little story from my teenage years. I am a rule follower, although I don't like that I follow the rules all the time. But I was going to a youth retreat, and I sat my parents down and I said, I just so wanted to do mischief. Like I did have this desire to do mischief because of I felt a little bit boring because I was such a rule follower.
Mm.
And so I sat them down and I said, listen, at this retreat, I'm planning to do some mischief. I'm pre warning my parents. I'm planning to do some mischief. Don't worry, like it'll be nothing too bad, but I might do this or this or this. And in case you get a phone call, I want you to know to not be too worried. So, so there you go, Brandon.
All right, that's
That's
good.
the kind of kid that I was. So yes, I had opinions, things as well, but
Yeah.
have always leaned towards. I'm an oldest as well.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
lean towards being responsible as well. So
Yeah.
I can relate.
Yes.
So what stage of your life then would we have maybe seen some foreshadowing of your current work? Being
Hmm.
an entrepreneur, having the store, fashion, kind of any of those things.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
would we start to see that
Good
show up?
question. I definitely, when I was about probably 10 years old, I was kind of wanting to kind of create my own little business of shoveling
Mm,
driveways.
okay.
Just, yeah, just thought, hey, this is an easy thing that I can do around my neighborhood. And I got a shovel, and it was my parents' shovel, so I didn't even have to pay for it. and
Perfect.
and I would rope my brother into it too, as much as I could, and split it with him, and so we just save whatever I could from shoveling driveways, mowing lawns in the summertime.
Mm-hmm.
I ran road hockey events. That was more for fundraising, for like a local charity that was building wells in Africa, actually. So
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed like just organizing events and kind of in the hockey world, and uh, yeah, I think a lot of that came down just to organizing and
Mm-hmm.
how to communicate with people something that they'd be interested in and believe in. And if I believed in something, then I could essentially sell it.
Gotcha.
Um, and uh, and I wanted everybody to have a good time. So
Mm-hmm.
whether it was organizing an event, it's like, um, just wanted it to be organized well and there not be, you know, any issues. And that was just at a young age, at like 14, when I could use my parents' credit card to rent a hockey arena and then create a little tournament and
Right, right.
get people
So
involved.
sort of seeing some indications of kind of an entrepreneurial spirit,
Hmm.
so to speak.
Hmm.
So then what? Like, so fill in the gaps between, that. Take us along the journey to today.
Yeah. Yeah. So then it was when I went to public school in high school, grade 11, I, I got approached by my uncle, actually my dad's brother, and he was an entrepreneur as well. And in the men's world, menswear sector and retail. And he had kind of his own journey, moving through and opening up his own business and all this. And but he ended up landing at a men's clothing store that had started in 1929. So
Wow.
a long time family business. Father started it in a downtown core of Cambridge, and then he passed it down to his son. And then that's when later on in the 90s, my uncle came into the scene and started managing the store for him and started making the store just look a little bit younger because it got kind of old and a little
Mm-hmm.
bit stale. And so he, I was grade 11 going to high school, literally maybe 7 blocks away. And he basically said, "Hey, why don't you come part time and I'll start training you and you can make some money and save." And so I would show up with my backpack, and it was my very first job and
Cool.
official job.
Yeah.
uh, we were dealing with an old cash register, handwritten receipts, like nothing digital really at the time, which is crazy. It makes me feel old. And this was about 19 years ago. So
Okay.
I was 16, and I, yeah, just took out the trash, learned to fold clothing, learned a little bit about the fabrics, and just did that. And wasn't really thinking too far down the road. Was
Mm-hmm.
more just like, this is a job where I can save, pay off, and get a car. So when I was,
Did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy the work?
yeah,
The
I did. I
customers?
think
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning stages, I definitely felt like I didn't have enough knowledge, and I was very nervous. And looking back on photos, I just
Mm,
everything I wore was just baggy, and it was a part of the style too. I had
sure.
like shaggy hair, like the mop
Yeah.
head,
Yeah.
and then the chain necklace and all this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I didn't feel like a professional. I didn't
Okay.
feel yeah. I had a lot of growth
Mm-hmm.
to grow in, and I know that like there were times when I felt like I knew a lot, but then something would happen. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, it took a number of years to really kind of settle into um, just gaining knowledge of the product that we were selling and how to even communicate more professionally with
Mm-hmm.
customers, the type of wording to use that wasn't too much high school slang or anything like that.
Sure.
So yeah, but I did enjoy working with people, and I did enjoy like my uncle. He had a drive for business and for entrepreneurship
Mm-hmm.
and for calling me up to the next level.
Mm.
And
What a
that was
gift.
like it was a gift. Yeah, it was
Mm-hmm.
inspiring.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's something that I think I'm drawn to is someone who is inspiring
Yes.
and who sees something in me. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's and he truly did. Like he would tell me, he said, "Hey, like I can see like you being here for a while and you being my right hand guy, and one day." So I mean, yeah. Fast forwarding
Mm.
the other
Wow. So a
day.
key player in your, or
Yeah. Hmm.
key character in your story for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, him and his wife, they didn't have any children, so that I was essentially kind of like a son to him. He's my dad's twin brother, and they were twins, and so that he kind of wanted to just like build me up as like his successor in business, really. And it was about 2 years. So the 2 years I was in high school, he was just the manager, and then I was just the assistant sales associate.
Mm-hmm.
I have my
Yeah.
very first business card. Actually, I found it the other day.
So cool. So fun to
Yeah,
look back.
different. It was a
Mm-hmm.
different family name because it was a different family, so different
Yeah.
business, and it had my name, assistant sales associate. And um, but 2 years later, that family decided to retire and basically hand that whole business from 1929 of the customer basis they had built
Mm-hmm.
for about just over 80 years. This is 2007 now. Um, and they just, my uncle took it over, carried it on, but he opened up a new business in that location,
Okay. Okay.
running the
Mm-hmm.
same brands and the product,
Mm-hmm.
clothing and the service, and in professional like menswear, but under our family name, which is Gadsby's.
Which is such a
Gadsby.
cool name. People must
Yeah.
tell you that. It's such
Yeah.
a
Yeah. It's
it's
great.
a
The
it's a
Great Gatsby.
classy name. I
Yeah,
know.
it is. We
Yeah.
we created our own brand
Mm-hmm.
called the Great Gatsby shirt. So
Oh, so good.
yeah, we have some fun with it. But
Yeah.
yeah, that then he really started to dig in a little more, and that once he had kind of the ownership and the
Mm.
control of the company, he started to dig in more and give me more responsibility and roles, as the company grew and expanded from there.
Mm.
Mm.
And so your current role title is?
So now I am a president and CEO of the company alongside my wife. We're both 50-50 owners. So
Okay.
she's just as important as I am, and I wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
be able to do all the things that I am doing without her.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so really, really thankful for everything she brings. She does cover a massive strength for administrative abilities and
Mm.
back end. She has a lot of so many skills too. Like she actually was a nurse practitioner, pediatrics oncology,
Oh, okay.
with cancer kids for
Mm-hmm.
15 years. And she
Wow.
resigned from the hospital to come into the family business with me when we
Mm.
took it on from my uncle about 3 years ago now.
Okay. Okay. So it's been under your leadership for about three
For about
years.
3 years, yep. So I worked for my uncle for 15 years, and obviously a lot happens in 15 years in
Mm-hmm.
anyone's life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot happened, and there were times, and my uncle knows too, there were times when I wanted to go off on my own and start
Mm-hmm.
my own business and wanted to do my own thing, but it's amazing to look back and just realize that that wouldn't have been the right timing,
Mm-hmm.
and to stick it out and realize that, okay, I need to respect and honor and humble myself, and um, not everything is going to be the way that I see it or that I want it, or and so I learned a lot through that process.
Mm-hmm.
um,
Yeah.
and and so with Larissa and I taking over the family business 3 years ago, our relationship is strong with my uncle, and they're in now like retirement mode,
Nice.
and yeah, it's a really
Oh, yeah, that's a great story about passing things along,
good story. Hmm.
passing the baton, so to speak.
Yeah.
Um, what are some of the changes when you took over that you implemented, and what are some of the things that you did not want, haven't changed because you did not want to change them? So the
Right.
constants versus the shifts or
Yeah.
changes.
Yeah. I mean, I would say there was a lot of changes, but more like it's all. I would almost see it as like additions, like just
Okay.
bettering systems and processes so that we could scale even larger. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and so, I mean, the things we didn't change was really like the customer service aspect. We have like a clientele and a customer basis system that keeps track of the customers that we see and their history of their purchases, almost like a doctor's file where you can see
Ah.
how someone's,
Uh-huh.
maybe they've gained a little bit of weight or they've lost, and we can go back on their history and we can see
Mm,
fluctuations, and we can see the types of brands and the fits they've
mm,
purchased, and we can make notes on their file on
mm,
what they like, so when they walk in the door, we know how we can service them best. We're
mm,
not a typical retail store where it's really our main focus is service. Obviously, we wouldn't
mm,
do business
mhm.
without selling product, but our biggest priority is the service, which then follows with the sale of the product. So
Right.
yeah, customer service would be like highest priority
Mm.
in the
And
company,
that has stayed.
and it's
So
been
just some of your systems have changed. When did you introduce the women's
yeah,
clothing?
that was a huge addition. Yeah, bringing in women's wear, because it'd been menswear for nine.
And just the one location so far, correct? Is it your
So
Cambridge
that
location?
was the Preston Cambridge location was the
Mm-hmm.
original space.
Mm-hmm.
My uncle and his wife, they opened up our Stratford location.
Mm-hmm.
This will be now, I think we're in our 14th year in Stratford.
Yeah.
So they just basically own the two locations. And 3 years ago, Larissa and I purchased the company as a whole with the two
Mm-hmm.
locations. And in the same year, we expanded and opened in Dundas, Hamilton. And so the whole story behind that was there was a men's and women's wear high-end boutique in downtown Dundas, which is our like vision is being in a downtown core. We never want
Yeah.
to be in a strip mall. We never want to be in a mall like it. We want to be in the historic downtown cores.
Kind of goes with your name, even.
Yeah,
Feels
yeah,
like, yeah.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So in Dundas, this men's and women's store, they retired. They'd been there for 20 years, had a great following of clientele, and they reached out to us and said, we had a great run, but we need to retire, but we're just sad that our customers are going to lose this type of business. So are you
Mm-hmm.
interested in coming here?
Yeah.
So we opened up in their space, and as our business just implemented all of our product and processes there, but realized we thought about it and we thought we can't just be a menswear store in this space when for 20 years all of their clientele knew it as half men's, half women's,
Right.
good quality European product, Canadian
Mm-hmm.
product. And we thought if we just came in as men's for a whole year, we'd probably have ladies coming in saying, "Where's all this really
Yeah.
nice product that you had here?"
Yeah.
And
You'd be dealing with a bunch of frustrated people.
yeah, and
Yeah.
then we'd realize, okay, we got to bite the bullet. Let's bring in women's
Yeah.
wear. And but then after a year, a lot of those ladies would probably go find
Mm.
other stores.
Yeah. Yep.
And
So it
then
was an opportunity.
it was an opportunity. We just had to do it, and that happened
Mm-hmm.
like within the first year of us purchasing the family business from our aunt.
Okay. Okay.
And so we bit off a lot for sure.
So you have women's clothing in Dundas and Cambridge,
Yes, so
but not in
we have
Stratford. Is
women's,
that correct?
we have women's in every location.
You do. Okay.
Yeah, but Stratford is a smaller location, so we can really only like an eighth of the store or a tenth of the store is women's. It's a small little section. But our menswear is really the strength because we've just been our brands have been curated for so long and it fits
Mm-hmm.
so well. So women's wear is really for us in our business only 3 years old, which you have kind of two strong seasons a year. You've got your fall winter season and then spring summer season, and
Mm-hmm.
so it gets stronger each season because we're looking back on reports on what our customers have enjoyed and what they're looking for and what we're
Mm-hmm.
missing, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe what they weren't interested in. So it's we're listening to our customers so that we can really curate a very strong collection each season. So with Dundas opening as men's and women's, that actually then put some pressure on our original Preston store. Um, that
Okay.
was that was only men's, and then Dundas is opening and we're doing women's, and then we're
Uh-huh.
thinking, okay, now do we bring women's to Preston, Cambridge? But the store wasn't set up to
Mm.
really be a good men's and women's, and it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't big enough to now become a
Mm-hmm.
flagship HQ.
Right.
So then we had to look at Galt, Cambridge. There was an opportunity with an empty space, and we did an event there. We did a fashion show for weddings. They invited us down there to be the men's wear, so we had some guys in suits for models, and they had girls
Mm-hmm.
in bridal gowns, and we were in the space, and it was a vacant space. And so then we thought, hey, this is actually really nice. It's a very large space, and
Yeah.
this is too big for us. No, it's got to be too. But it has been the perfect space for us. And
Mm.
so we ended up, yeah, the landlord reached out to us and said, we really would love to have you here. And so, yeah, long story short, we're in that space now, and we
Yeah.
closed the original Preston location down,
Okay.
um, because it's only 10 minutes down the road, and we had to funnel
Mm-hmm.
all of our resources to the larger square
Sure,
footage.
sure. So, I mean, on the one hand, I'm hearing this and it just sounds like, opportunities came along and everything just flowed together so lovely. But I also know reality. And
Yeah.
I'm thinking you must have encountered some challenges, maybe had some stress and sleepless nights at certain stages of the growth
Yes.
because
Yeah.
you underwent a lot of changes in a fairly short period of time.
Yes, 100%. And we're doubling and tripling our inventory, which in our type of business, much like in many other retail, really, is you're purchasing your inventory before you sell it
Yeah,
all. You got to pay for it
right.
all. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely a lot of like financial strain, and it's
Mm-hmm.
amazing just to see how the strength of the company has been able to hold it through. And it's not even just the company, it's the relationships we have with our suppliers, because they all
Mm-hmm.
help us by, extending certain terms and whatnot so that we can continue to grow and expand.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, we just opened our Paris location 3 weeks ago in downtown
Okay, I
Paris.
wondered because
Yeah.
honestly, when I was looking, I thought, okay, there's three locations, and then I looked and I thought, there's
Yeah.
four locations,
All of a
but
sudden it just popped
I
up.
only remember there being three locations.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. So
Paris is
Paris,
another great
It's a,
spot.
it's a beautiful downtown core.
Yeah,
Again, so many independent family businesses that we just love
yeah.
being around and being a part of the anchors of the town.
Oh, I
And
can't wait to check it out. I go to Paris a fair
yeah,
bit, actually.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's right on the Grand River. So the river's right behind us. We have a deck that goes out over the river. So we're going to plan on doing some, barbecue
So
events.
what did you
Yeah,
take over? What was in the space where you are now?
I think black and white. It was a retailer that only had black
Okay.
and white in there, and they closed down. It
Okay.
was, yeah, kind of a neat concept, but
Mm-hmm.
also very like specific.
Sure. Sure.
And so I don't know the story, but they weren't there anymore. And our landlords of our Galt Cambridge location, they actually purchased that building only a year ago. They renovated
Mm-hmm.
it, and then they said to us, "Hey, we really want you guys if you're interested."
Mm-hmm.
Had lots of people asking for the space, but they turned them down and said, "No, we want Gadsby's if they're into it." And some might look at it and say, "Wow, like you're opening another store and like you're moving too quickly." But really, we were looking at Paris about 3 years ago, and
Mm-hmm.
so we have. Sorry, this is my dog here.
That's all right. Yeah,
Uh,
wanting to get in on the be a
yeah, yeah.
guest.
Um, so about 3 years ago, we were looking at Paris, but we knew it wasn't the right time, and it
Mm-hmm.
would have been more forced. But this, yes, it also still happening kind of quicker than we really are ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's an opportunity that has a great landlord that we have built a
Mm-hmm.
relationship with,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a great strip, great part of the town. And it's needed because Paris right now currently doesn't have any strong menswear presence. There's some women's already, but most women know that when there's more women more women's boutiques, it's better, it's more shoppable,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
rather than just one. Whereas the guys, it's a little different. It's nice to have just one good men's shopping
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
experience. So.
At what point did you get involved in, or are you involved in purchasing, selecting, that sort of thing? I mean, it sounds like you've had suppliers, some pretty steady suppliers for a long time.
Mm. Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah.
when did you start having input into that?
I would say I think my uncle started taking me on his buying trips after I'd been in the business about 5 years.
So
So
you
I
were
would have
still
been
pretty
like,
young.
I was pretty young. Yeah, I was 21,
Yeah.
22, like just
Still
figuring
shaggy
things.
hair.
No, I think I had some
Were
friends
you
that said
starting to refine your look?
some friends started saying that's got to go, and but yeah, and I was digging in for sure. I had purchased my first home, which was just ahead of the market going crazy. So
Good for
timing was
you.
perfect. In my mind, I
Yeah.
was 20 years old, and I thought to myself, paying room and board at home. My parents were charging me rent, which is great on them because in their
Yes.
perspective, it's like
Yes.
we're encouraging him to know
Yeah.
that life is expensive, and you need to be thinking about these things. You can't just be,
Hmm.
living for free.
That's right.
And
Teaches
so
you responsibility.
yeah, and
Hmm.
so for me, I was like, okay, this money that I'm paying, I would rather be putting this into some kind of investment, like a home that's going to increase in
Mm-hmm.
value. And so I was able to find kind of a pretty rundown place for way less than they're going for right now, and
Right,
get
right.
myself into
Yes,
the
things have
market.
changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Good
ended
for
up getting
you.
myself into the market at 20 years old, purchased my first home.
Mm-hmm.
And so then it also caused me to make sure that I was like digging in and working hard and asking for how can I increase my responsibility and grow in this company.
Hmm.
So yeah.
So we started taking you along. Um, since you've taken over, have you changed like suppliers? Have you changed any of the look at all? Have you brought on new suppliers? Does that evolve,
Yeah.
or what does that
Yeah,
look
that's
like?
yeah, that's right. Yeah. So he took me with his on his buying trips and he would start to train me. He would do most of the buying, but I would just kind of observe. And then
Hmm.
after a few years, like it's just yeah, it's crazy. Like in the moment you think if someone were to say, okay, it's gonna take 3 years until you can actually start having an input. In the
Yeah,
moment, like as
yeah.
a young guy,
It
you'd
would feel
probably be
like
like, okay,
forever.
see ya.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm just gonna go off on my own.
yeah.
This is kind of a cool thing just to think about because for any other young guys that kind of in
Mm-hmm.
that stage
Mm-hmm.
of so just looking back, I'm glad that I didn't just go off on my own and I just kind of just kept putting one foot in front of the other and not rushing off. Um, and in that, he then trained me in the buying and then started to give me the input. And once I took over 3 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
then I really did have like full control of the
Mm-hmm.
buy. And it was my first time having that full control. So it was pretty nerve wracking
Mm-hmm.
to be, you know, like large numbers of
Sure.
six
Yeah.
digits of just saying, okay, we're committing to this, and we buy 6 months ahead, so we're always a season
Mm.
ahead. So
Mm-hmm.
I went in February this year, and we're now
Yep.
in May, and I bought for next fall. So we've already got our purchase for next fall, and it's
Which
all
is just wild. Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I mean it's all being made
Mm-hmm.
in factory in Europe
Okay.
and
Mm-hmm.
everywhere, and then it all comes in. So the brands we're using are like a lot of the brands are the same brands. It's consistent with what my uncle and his wife built in the company.
Amazing.
There's a few
Yeah.
that we've shifted and a
Mm-hmm.
few new ones we've added to kind of
Mm-hmm.
just keep with the trend
Mm-hmm.
and age demographic um, and quality and price point. Like those are all very important
Mm-hmm.
for us. Um, we don't want to just be a fully high end. We don't want to just be opening price point either. We want to be a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so, because that just allows us to be able to be more reachable for more people uh,
Mm-hmm.
and provide the high end service
Yeah.
at an opening price point or a middle or a high end as well, because we have our customers that appreciate that higher end product,
Yeah.
and then others it's a little bit out of the budget, but we still have a good product that we can give them that works more with where they're at. Yeah.
How would you describe the store style? What language would you use?
Um, I'd say like it's very like lifestyle, um, which would be kind of more like maybe a little more casual, not incredibly like elegant per se, which would feel very ritzy. It, there's some pieces of it that yeah, we care about our look, but we also want to be welcoming and not overpowering. Or when you walk in, you're like, oh, it just feels like everything's dripping money here. Like no, no,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
we're,
Yeah.
we don't want that. We want someone to come in and just feel relaxed and feel comfortable, and not feel like they don't belong.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
That's making me think, and this almost sounds more like the questions I do at the end, more of the random or rapid fire. But um, if you were able to have any celebrity model or wear your clothes, like do an ad or something, you can pick the celeb. Who do you think would
uh,
wear it best, but like to go with your brand?
yeah, right. Oh, there's
Putting
a
you on the
lot, really.
spot.
There's a lot. There
Uh-huh.
is, um, uh, I there's obviously like the Brad Pitt for sure. We could do
Okay.
throw him
Yeah.
in there. We could put Um, who's the guy from Ocean's 11? Um,
I know which one. Clooney?
George Clooney,
George Clooney. Okay.
Matthew Mahoney.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Like we're kind of like we're catering to that like 40 to
Mm,
60 kind of
hmm
demographic, age
Yeah.
demographic. I mean, I'm in my early 30s, and I can get some nice pieces there. I'm trying to kind of steer into a little bit more like casual and younger kind of vibes as well.
hmm
But you have to be careful because sometimes like you get into that in good quality, and then all of a sudden young families that are starting out their careers and starting out their families can't really afford for that higher
Mm,
quality
right. Right.
piece. So
Yeah.
that's often why we kind of stay into that age demographic where, okay, we've been in our career for 5, 10 years plus, and
hmm
have a bit of a budget to purchase some better quality product that will last longer and feel good and fit right.
Yeah. Yeah. Before I get you to share some maybe advice to entrepreneurs or people who want to be an entrepreneur, um, tell me how you balance. So, do you have two children? Is that right?
Yes, we do. Yep.
And what are their ages?
They are 5 and 7.
Okay, so you're in a busy stage of
Yeah.
life for sure.
Yeah.
So first, speak to how you kind of balance or manage. I think family and relationships are high priority for you.
Yes.
Um, but obviously you're running a, substantial business with a lot of moving parts. So can you share sort of some tips or strategies about that
Hmm.
first?
Yeah. Definitely. I want to be present with our kids and with my wife and I, of course. And so it is a tough balance for sure. Because I'm consciously looking back and thinking, yeah, I don't want to be 5 years down the road and look back and
Hmm.
think and feel that I've missed those younger years
hmm
because of everything that was going on in the business. So
Yeah.
I feel like Larissa and I are doing a really good job of being intentional with each other and with our kids. And so for me, it's yeah, as much as sorry,
It's
there's a
okay. It's all right.
as much as I would love to sleep in a little bit in the morning.
Yeah.
It's no, I'm doing my part by being the first one up in the morning.
hmm
Larissa often picks the kids up from school because I
Okay.
stay at the store till the end of the day and close, and we're training new staff, and there's a lot of moving pieces.
hmm
So I do the morning duty essentially. It's
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
the kids lunches, get their breakfast,
hmm
be present with them, help them get dressed and for school. And so I'm around, and
hmm
then yeah, coming home every day, dinner time, there for dinner. Not working late nights.
hmm
Kids appreciate us putting them to bed, and so we're putting them to bed. and
Yeah.
and then my Sunday is we something different actually. Like in retail, you don't see it a lot, but we're closed on Sundays. So all of our locations are 4 stores with our
Yeah.
14 staff, where we all take the day to rest, and
hmm
very much like what Chick-fil-A does.
Yeah. I
uh,
immediately thought of that. And
yeah,
and honestly, in Canada for many, many years, retail was not open on
right,
Sunday. Like
right,
what because
right.
I had family in the US, and when we would go there, you could
Yeah,
shop there, but
good.
not
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's wild, eh? How much
hmm
has changed, but
Yeah.
yeah. So that's where I mean, there's been the times when I've thought, "Oh, this is crazy." Like I've heard other people,
Uh,
"That's crazy." Like what you
right.
can do in sales on a Sunday, and then
Yeah.
I've done the tests. I've done the
Uh-huh.
little tests of like, okay, what if I just go? It's not going to cost the company money by having staff. What if I go to one
Sure.
of the stores in our tourist town of Stratford and try to be open on a Sunday?
Yep.
And in the
Yep.
end, it just doesn't feel like our company, our vision. It doesn't feel like us. And I wasn't blowing out of the water in sales.
Yep.
And it was yeah, it had some sales, but in the end I'm like, you know what, this is not a value of us to it is a
hmm
value to be closed on Sunday and for everyone to have a a rest day. And whether they attend church or they're having family time, like we support that. And um, yeah, and I think that the company is strong because of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's for us, it works. And
Yeah.
I'm not a I'm I'm not like everybody needs to be closed on Sunday. I don't
Sure.
I don't think that, because
Yeah.
obviously the hospitals, like Larissa, my wife,
Yeah.
was a nurse.
Yeah.
There's emergencies and we need
Mm-hmm.
people working on Sundays. So it's not
Absolutely.
about the Sunday. It's
Yeah.
about having the one day that is the rest day. And for us, it works out the best to be.
And I think it's also about like as a leader and as a company,
Mhm.
establishing your values and then making the decisions for the business that align with your values.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
it's not just about chasing the dollar or
Right,
that
right.
sort of thing.
Yeah,
And I think you're not alone in having a model that works, even though it's sort of somewhat countercultural or,
right.
um, yeah.
Yeah.
And it is still working. It's been working for a long time.
Yes.
So,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah,
you're
it
not
has.
trying
So
something brand new.
no,
Yeah.
that's it. So we're gonna keep going
Hmm.
at that for sure.
Amazing. And just before I ask you some random slash rapid fire questions, just overall, if there's somebody watching, listening that has that entrepreneurial itch, and you just have to give some really kind of broad, advice to them, some things to think about as they go into that space, what would you say?
Um, I would say definitely have somebody in your corner, like a mentor.
Mm,
That's been consistent for me for so
hmm
long. Yeah, ever since I can really remember. Is And it's not always the same person. There's seasons. They shift. Somebody
hmm
moves away, or something happens in their life, and they're kind of in a different season. And it's so important and key to have a mentor who is 10, 20, 30 years ahead, uh,
hmm
that can speak into your life, and that you can trust, and they have a good following themselves. And because it's easy to meet with people that agree with everything you say and support you, and believe in, yeah, we want them, like, they need to believe in you, but they also need to challenge you too.
hmm
And sometimes say the hard things that you don't really want to hear. uh,
Yeah.
and so that will ultimately, like, be a part of saving you through some
Mm-hmm.
potential big ditches.
Yeah.
Whether it's a big financial investment for something that maybe isn't the right time,
hmm
or whatever it is,
hmm I
So
think historically that was the pattern too. People did learn by kind of apprenticing, right? Like that was just the way you got into something,
yeah,
was learning under somebody, not
yeah,
necessarily just kind of
yeah,
starting something new.
yeah, exactly.
Something else I hear that people could learn from is one, you practiced a lot of patience
Hmm.
in this. There was many, many years of kind of training, working alongside, working under, right?
Yes.
Um, and the willingness to put on that beginner mindset, which I find uh, today, I feel like there's less patience and less willingness to put on that mindset.
Hmm.
Um, but it
Yeah.
is so important, right?
Yes. Oh, it is for
To
sure.
go, yeah, you could
Yeah.
have, as you said, you start to feel like, I want to do this on my own. I want to, um, but it really paid off. Sitting tight and learning all of those years so that you were ready
Yeah.
to go out on your own.
For sure. And
So,
there's great responsibility, because it's not just the company and our life, but all of I think of our staff,
hmm,
and their families and their lives,
yes,
their livelihood. And so, like, the decisions we make, ultimately in the company, affect all of them as
that's right.
well. And
Yeah,
so, if you're growing and building a company, and you have these dreams for it to be this big, because it's going to really grow and it's going to mean all these other people, then you also have to think that next step of, like, it's affecting these other people and their families and such as well.
yes,
So,
for sure.
yeah, there is a great responsibility to it for sure. And
Hmm
we can't do things too quickly.
hmm
If
hmm
anytime you want to move quickly, I've learned this myself, is take a little bit of take a little bit of extra time.
Yes, yes. No, that's really good. Do you have time for two or three I call them rapid fire, but actually they sometimes take a bit
Yeah, of course.
to think through questions, and then I'll let you get back to your full schedule.
Yeah, that's fine. Of course.
All
Yeah.
right. If you weren't in your current career, what's a different path you'd love to try?
Well, I know that I was interested in actually teaching. I thought I would love to be in, maybe it would be the public system and
Okay.
teaching.
Like what grade level?
I feel like, uh, oh, maybe like anywhere between a grade uh, 5 to 12, maybe.
Okay, okay. So, so not the wee little ones, but yeah,
No, yeah. I mean,
yeah,
I enjoy kids, and I
sure,
mean even the high school age. Like for a number of years, I actually went back. Sorry, can I let the dog out
sure.
for
Yes,
one
go
second?
ahead. Yep.
Um, for a
The
number of
dog's like, pay attention to me,
Yeah,
pay
right. Let
attention
me
to me.
outside. For a number of years, I actually went back to my high school and spoke in the entrepreneurial business
I
class.
was gonna say, I didn't know you were gonna say that, and I was gonna say, do you know, maybe when you're not as busy,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
even speaking at a college
yeah,
program or high school, like it would be
yeah.
great.
And so
Yeah.
I went back even when I wasn't the owner. I was working for
Hmm.
my uncle, but I had a just I was driven to like share my excitement for being in business
Mm,
and the dreams that I had. I wanted to just share that excitement with these other like high school kids that weren't really sure where they were going,
yeah.
and I just wanted to encourage them. And yeah, did it for maybe 4 or 5 years afterwards. And then even
Very
Larissa and
cool.
I, just about a month ago, we went and spoke in a high school class, and as business owners now together once a year, we'll go there and speak. And
Well, that's awesome.
hmm,
Okay, when you are not working or doing, you know, family duties, what's your like guilty pleasure? What's something you like to do to, you know, relax or um,
yeah,
refresh?
I love playing hockey. So I'll try to get out when I can on the ice and just play with the guys, pick up. Um, I do enjoy working in the yard and gardening. It's therapeutic.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Touching the dirt.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to these days because there's just so much to do.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoy relaxing, watching some shows on Netflix and such too.
Mm-hmm.
But really, my one of my favorite things is connecting with people. So I mean,
Mm.
if I could just like, to me, it just feels like we're investing in I'm investing
Mm.
in a relationship,
Mm-hmm.
or I'm learning something from their experience,
Love it.
or I'm being encouraged myself, or I can encourage them.
Yeah.
To me, I just feel like I'm taking a step in a better direction than if I was sitting home watching a show.
Absolutely. Yeah. No,
uh,
it's true.
but
That
yeah,
connection. Okay. Final question. Then I'm gonna let you go. If your business had a theme song, what would it be?
uh, I don't know. I don't know if I can answer that one.
I can,
I
if
really,
you can't, I'll leave it with you and you can
yeah,
think about it because
no,
it's
that,
kind of a fun one to think about.
yeah, yeah,
I think.
yeah,
Um, I went to a, real estate conference in November, and they did with each guest that came out to speak, each
yeah,
speaker, they
yeah.
had like a song, and they were
Okay,
all different. Like it
yeah,
wasn't like the same one. Every person they had a song, and I thought
right,
I kind of love that. Like
yeah,
it made me think about like what would my song be,
right,
right?
right.
What's my go on to the stage song be?
Yeah, I've seen
So
that before too, and
yeah.
it's always like, oh wow, the people that can just think on the spot like that and think, oh, this will be perfect for this person. Yeah,
Yeah,
great.
I know,
So
so
I'll
good.
definitely think of
So
that
you
one.
don't have to answer, but I'll leave that with you because you can think about that. That could be your, you know, pump up
Yeah,
business song.
yeah, right.
Um, Brandon, I so appreciate your time and your input, and I would agree with what your friends say about you. You are definitely genuine. It's really apparent that relationships are important to you, and I'm so happy to hear about the success of your business. I'm not surprised. You have beautiful quality product, and as I said, the stores just have a really nice vibe. So I encourage people to go check out your stores. I will link to your website in the show notes. Is there anywhere else I should direct people to find you?
Yeah, I mean, our website is actually very user friendly. We've got our product, a lot of our product on there. There's still a lot that still needs to be uploaded for the season, but we've got, yeah, photos of our staff on there. So it's just very relational and personable. We work with a lot of wedding groups. We're actually really growing
Mm,
our wedding business. So love
okay.
working with
Okay.
grooms and brides
Okay.
and groomsmen. So mostly in on the men's side
Yep.
for the outfits and helping them look their best. So we have,
Nice.
yeah, we've got like a contact form that people can fill out if they either want to get in touch with us regarding a wedding group or like a private appointment. You can fill out a form
Mm,
and it comes to me. Any form that gets filled out comes to me, and I connect with them. But yeah, my email, people can
awesome.
always reach me anywhere. Brandon at Gadsbys.ca.
Well, that's great. And then people can comment on the great jacket you're wearing today.
Oh yeah, thank
So
you.
so sharp. Yeah. And I love this little pin thing that you guys
Yeah,
do. I saw that on some of the outfits Kevin was wearing. Love it. Looks so
yeah,
sharp.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to say goodbye and let you go, but we'll be in touch soon.
Thank you
Thanks
so much,
again.
Wendy, for having me on.
My pleasure.